Do you want to just tell that story again quickly, the time you were in the Triangle?
I was in there having a cup of coffee. Chin was playing cards with 4 or 5 other guys. And this character walks in the front door, older man with full beard, big Santa Claus beard. And somebody sitting by the door said, "Can I help you? Who are you looking for?" He said, "I want to see Chin." So Chin looked up to see, and he kind of shook his head to the guy who was talking, and letting him know that he had no idea who the guy was. So the guy says, "Well, what do you want to see him about?" He says, "Well, I wanted to see him about buying some stuff." So Chin just piped up. He says, "Yeah, he's sitting over there in the corner." And he pointed to Fat Dom. So he sent the guy back there to see Fat Dom. He said, Fat Dom picked up on it, and he said, "Yeah, what can I do for you? What do you want to buy?" So the guy sat down, and evidently he told him what he wanted to buy, and Dom came over to Chin, and I was standing right there, and he says the guy wants to buy a couple kilos of heroin. He wants to buy some cocaine. He wants to buy some marijuana. Chin got up and started wailing on this guy and beating the crap out of him. He was punching the hell out of him. And and when he got done with him, he missed a couple of times and he hit the door, and his hand was all bloody. And then he told 2 guys in there, he says, "Take this son of a bitch, take him around the corner on McDougal Street, go into one of the apartment buildings, put him under the stairway, and don't let him come out." And that was that.
Yeah.
After the guy left, he just shook his head. He said, "You believe that? This son of a bitch, he thought he was going to buy drugs in here." It was probably the agents sent him in there. That was, probably the reason why.
How often would you go down there?
Well, when I was still in the insurance business, whenever I was in the city or downtown, I would stop by. So
okay. Probably,
once a month, once every couple of months. I wouldn't make a pest out of myself.
Yeah.
This particular story that I just told you, that took place before my father died. Yeah. That was way before. Chin was always on Sullivan Street. My father was on Thompson Street, the next block over. It was more safe on Thompson Street than ever when my father was there. People on Thompson Street, they used to be out walking around in the streets at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
What places did your dad have on Thompson Street?
Well, he didn't own anything on Thompson Street. He used to hang out in a small cafe near Houston Street called Cafe Napoli.
Okay.
Cafe Napoli. It was owned by a woman named Angelina Hogan. Angelina Hogan was from Italy, and she married an American sailor by the name of Bob Hogan, and that brought her to the United States as a citizen. He used to just hang out in the cafe. That's the same cafe that Tony Bender used to have his headquarters at before my father. And my father was always there. He was always there before. And once Tony Bender was gone, that became his headquarters. But truth of the matter is, Greenwich Village area, which was all Italian people. Genovese was, I guess, in the Greenwich Village area more than anything else. Tony Bender, I know that he was the boss of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And when he was alive, I mean, he was all those little nightclubs on 3rd Street, the Circus, the Gold Bug, what was the Savannah Club, Ernie's Free Ring Circus. I remember all those places from when I was a kid. Everything on 3rd Street was all nightclubs, and they all belonged to Tony Bender. Well, some of those guys, they migrated to that area, but like Chin was always from Sullivan Street. I mean, his mother and father always lived on 201 Sullivan Street.
And your dad, what were his like favorite restaurants down there?
Joe's Restaurant on McDougal Street, Rocco's Restaurant right there on Thompson Street.
Literally, the Palones grew up like right next door to that one.
Right, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I remember eating in there as a kid when I was a little kid.
Rocco's?
Yeah. My oldest memory in life is, well, not my oldest memory, but probably close to it. I was about maybe 4 years old. And I was outside on the sidewalk in front of the Triangle. And it was a hotbed at that time, man. There was wise guys hanging out on the sidewalk. There was never any grief from anybody. Inside, they would have a Ziggunet game going on.
Wait, what kind of game? What is it called?
They called it Ziggunet. I don't know the game. I never played the game. I watched the team played a couple of times, but I had no idea what they were doing. And you could have like 8-10 players in it.
Wow.
They had a big table in the back there. And anyway, I was out on the sidewalk, and I was in a semi-panic because I didn't know where my father was. And I was going, where's my father? Where's my daddy? Where's my daddy? And a couple of the guys standing on the sidewalk knew where it was. And they said, he's inside, and in the back there's a little office. Go in there. He's in there. So I went inside, and I went back to this little office, and he was sitting behind his desk. And I want to tell you that this desk was piled high with money. It must have been 1.5 feet high of bills of money. It was a horse room. And that's one of my oldest memories. It's something that still stands out in my mind. I can still see myself. I couldn't see over the top of the desk. That's how small I was. Looking up, and I'm looking up, and all I see is money. and he's going, what are you doing in here? He said, don't come in here. Go outside. Go outside. Wait for me outside.